Yo, what is going on, Sixer Nation? DFJ Hoops here, back again with another live stream. And we got a good show for y'all today. We're gonna talk about the Sixers' last preseason game before the regular season starts. As they took on the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're gonna talk about that. Joel Embiid makes his return in about 237 days since the last time he played. We're going to talk about Quentin Grimes as well as VJ Edgecombe, as they both played their first games of the preseason. Now, Quentin Grimes, that was his first game of the preseason, but VJ had played the first two in Abu Dhabi, but this was the first one he played in Philly because he missed the last week. He missed the game last week against the Orlando Magic. So we're gonna focus on those three players. But if you just pulled up, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Salute to my guy BJ in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Says salute. Smash that like button. Yeah, smash that like button. Yeah, Cleveland take on the Knicks. Cleveland take on the Knicks on Wednesday, so that's gonna be a good game. I'm gonna definitely watch that one, as well as the as well as the Sixers and the Boston Celtics. So yeah, but salute to you, bro. Salute to my uncle Big Tone in the building. Appreciate you, Big Tone. Appreciate you. I'm gonna be on your channel very, very soon. Appreciate you. But before I start, I want to focus on these. I want to focus on a few players before I talk about the players that I really want to talk about. So first of all, number one is Maxi. Now Maxi's not in the title. He's not in the thumbnail, but I mean Maxi had a very, very good game. Good performance last night. I mean, like I said, I don't care about wins and losses. I don't care about how many points you put up. I'm just watching for the effort. And Maxi played with a ton of effort. You know, he was getting up and down the floor, defense, offense. He made some good shots as well, made multiple threes. The Sixers as a whole team collectively really struggled from the 3-point line right now. That's something that they dealt with last season, you know, inconsistency shooting the 3-pointers. And it was in full effect last night. Now, lucky for them, the Timberwolves also struggled from the 3-point line. Now, the Timberwolves didn't really have anybody out there. They didn't really have they starting five out there, like the actual starting five, like the Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle. They didn't have none of those guys out there. They had a bunch of rookies and sophomore players, right? So it really helped the Sixers in a way because they were also having difficulty shooting the three. And the Sixers, they won the rebounding department, but again, the starters were not out there. Right. If Minnesota was out there with Rudy Gobert, you know, Rudy Gobert pulls like 12 or 11 rebounds. You got Julius Randle's a 20 and 10 guy, right? Anthony Edwards gets a few rebounds. Jalen McDaniels also does the dirty work too. So not having those guys out there really it hurt them. But I mean, it's a preseason game. There's nothing too serious. But I believe the Sixers won the rebounding battle because those guys were not out there, right? Now, like I said, Maxi played a very, very good game. You know, made some good passes, had some good dimes. The Sixers missed a lot of alley oops, right? There was this opportunity that he created where VJ wasn't able to finish. I mean, he caught it but wasn't able to dunk it. Another pass was to Jabari Walker as well. So he was, you know, he was full. He was really out there, you know, displaying his playmaking skills and playmaking abilities. And every time he had the opportunity to score, he made sure he converted, right? So shout out to Maxi. I think he finished with 27 or 26 points or something like that. But the points don't really matter. I'm looking for the shot making ability. I'm looking for the reads that you're making. I'm looking for the effort that you're playing with. And he did all of that, right? A few turnovers here or there, but I mean, I think he can definitely clean that up. So, you know, salute to Maxi. But I want to talk about Justin Edwards. Now, Justin Edwards, like I said, in the past, I said he was one of the most underrated players on the Sixers, and I was looking forward to see what he can give to the Sixers in these preseason games. Now, the first two against the Knicks, you know, he had a lot of difficulties, you know, making shots. But I mean, the defensive effort was there, but the shot making ability was just not there, right? Getting a lot of wide open looks, and he's not able to convert. Now, last night had the same problems, same issues, wide open looks at the top of the key, and he's still missing, right? Gets in the lane. And sometimes he was also deferring, you know, deferring to guys he wasn't supposed to defer to. Some of these guys on the G League, like Kennedy Chandler, Hunter Salas, and some of these guys that he was deferring to. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if his confidence is so low that he has no I don't know if he doesn't believe in himself, but I mean, deferring to these guys, it kind of signifies, a confidence issue, and that's something that I think the coaching staff has to help him out a little bit, right? He's only in his second season, so you can expect him to, struggle. But the way it's going, I mean, if he keeps playing this way, I don't really see him I don't really see him being in the rotation for the Sixers, right? Now, last season, I mean, the Sixers dealt with a ton of injuries, so he had his opportunities right there and he made the most out of it. But I mean, this season is going to be a little bit different because guys are going to be healthy, guys are really out there want to play. And when you got Dominic Barlow out there impressing Nick Nurse and the entire coaching staff, and you got Jabari Walker and some of these other guys also playing very, very hard on both sides of the floor, pause if necessary. I mean, if you're Justin Edwards, you got to make an immediate impact, or else these guys are going to take your spot, right? Because these guys don't have guaranteed spots. They're trying to find a role for themselves. So, they doing everything necessary. Now, Dominic Barlow really impressed me. He's been impressive all preseason long, right? And he's been impressing Nick Nurse as well. So. If he's playing good, if Jabari Walker's also playing good, then Justin Edwards, you might not be in the rotation that long. So hopefully it's not the same thing in the regular season. Hopefully he can clean that up come regular season. I think in the past, in his rookie season, he had some good games against the Boston Celtics. And we take on the Boston Celtics on Wednesday night. So hopefully it can be something different. Hopefully he can find his touch and start making shots. But I mean, this game right here against the Timberwolves, those are the games that you kind of get into rhythm. You try to get yourself in rhythm with, right? But it just wasn't his night, right? It just wasn't his night, and it was the other guys who were playing very, very hard on both sides of the floor. So you just got to give them credit. But I just hope he can find, he can get into a rhythm. But yeah, and last person, let me talk about Kelly Oubre too. Kelly, he started for the Sixers last night. Had some good moments too. He scored a few points. The outside shooting is, always going to be an issue for him. I think he shot like 34, 35% last season from the three, maybe even worse. So that's my only issue, my only concerns with him. But he was on the trade block this off season. And he got mad about it. Called out some Sixer fans about it. But I mean, Kelly is he's always gonna play with effort, right? He always gonna give you the effort. He's not gonna cheat any plays, right? He's gonna play defense. He's gonna rebound, he's gonna box out, he's gonna do all those things. But the only thing that's a only thing is an issue is the outside shot. Now, if he's making his shots, then yeah, it's a plus for the Sixers. But last night, very, very underrated performance. Played very, very good defensively, also offensively. Didn't make a ton of mistakes offensively, in my opinion. Outside for the outside shooting, didn't really make a ton of mistakes. So shout out to him. And then you got Dominic Barlow, who I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Dominic Barlow has been very, very impressive. He didn't start last night, but when he came in, like you could see the impact, running the floor, playing defense, and also being a rim runner as well, right? There was this pass that Embiid made to him where he took a dribble and finished through contact, right? And he was also making plays on the defensive side of the floor. So if he's playing so good, I mean, the Sixers can definitely Nick Nurse might have a very, very good role for him come regular season time. Now, my only issue is that Trendon Watford has been injured, and we haven't seen him in this whole preseason. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult when he's fully healthy, and then Nick Nurse has to incorporate him into the offense, right? Has to find some minutes for him to play because he hasn't really played in any minutes so far, and coming in, it might be very, very difficult for Nick Nurse. But I really wanted to see him out there and see how he can fit with this team and how they play. Because the Sixers were really, when Embiid was off the floor, like the Sixers were a high tempo team. And even as a team, the Sixers scored a lot of fast break points, right? That's where they were eating because Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, and all these guys was getting out in transition, right? Adem Bono was running the floor. So, and then you got Trent Watford, who's not really a fast player. So how does he fit in an environment like that? I mean, it's we're yet to see that. But I think I think I talked about everybody that I wanted to get to. Nick Nurse, shout out to Nick Nurse too. But let me focus on Embiid for a few minutes here. So Embiid, made his return, like I said, and how many did 237, 238, whatever days. I mean, I don't know how people keep track of that, but he made his return, and Nick Nurse didn't really play him a ton of minutes. They played him like under 20 minutes, I think. Probably 18 or 19 minutes. He started the game and checked out halfway through the first, right? Um, and Nick Nurse started off with the big lineup, right? He had Maxey, he had VJ Edgecombe, had Kelly Oubre. To my surprise, he had Adem Bona at the 4 and then Embiid at the 5. So that's the big lineup that he alluded to a few days ago. Right now, I see what he's trying to do there, and that lineup could be very, 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 very helpful in a few teams that the Sixers might go up against. Right, if you go up against the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis is a very, very great transition player. Like when he takes those long strides to the basket, there's not too many people that could really contend with him or really, slow him down that way. So if you run that lineup against the Milwaukee Bucks, I think that when you got Joel Embiid as a roamer, and then you have um Adem Bona as the primary defender, that could really help. Now it's not to say that Giannis is still not going to get his numbers. Giannis will get his numbers regardless, but you want it to be, a high volume, inefficient, 30. Giannis is good enough to get 30 any single time. But that lineup could be, it could be very, very beneficial against a team like that, right? These teams with these dynamic forwards, versatile forwards that can do almost everything on the floor. If Tatum was healthy, deploy um, you could deploy Adem Bona at the 4 position and hope that he could nullify a Jason Tatum or some of these other forwards. So that's how it could be beneficial. But defensively, against some of these guard heavy teams that hunt mismatches, they could hunt Joel Embiid on the perimeter and try to abuse that mismatch on the perimeter, or attack Adem Bona and use his athleticism against him in such ways. Examples as try to get him on the block end. Adem Bona sometimes doesn't really have the discipline, and he goes for every fake. Right, you get him in the air, you can put him in foul trouble and get him off the floor. So that's a disadvantage right there, and that's something that I think that Nick Nurse is also scared about. But playing that big lineup in this game right here, I mean, it had success, right? It did have success, but this is not a game that you can measure that against, right? Now, if they go up against real NBA competition and it's successful, then you can make your judgment. But against third and fourth stringers, I don't think it's I don't think it's a good representation of how good that lineup could be, right? So, salute to my guy Tuning Sports in the building. Appreciate you. He says I didn't think Embiid was going to return, bro. I told you that. I mean, I don't know why you. I mean, I told you. So, yeah, that one worked, bro. Evan Mobley's not a transition player like that. Evan Mobley don't get the man, bro. Don't let me get started on Evan Mobley, bro. Because if I start, I'm not gonna finish. Pause. But yeah, that big lineup was had a immediate success, right, in terms of the rebounding, because Embiid was able to box out a lot of guys, and Bona was getting rebounds, Maxey was getting rebounds, Edgecombe was getting rebounds, and that was off of Joel Embiid, boxing out some of these players. Now the Timberwolves did get some offensive rebounds as well. Now offensive rebounds, sometimes as an offensive guy, sometimes the ball is just gonna come straight to you, right? And as a defensive team, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. The best thing you could do is, to try to reset and try to let them use the shot clock as much as they can to, try to get the shot clock violation, right? But from a rebounding standpoint, I think they really, really they did very fine. But again, like I said, it's against rookies and sophomore players. So if they can do this against real NBA competition, then that will really help the Sixers in terms of their rebounding. Now I think first play of the game, I mean, Adem Bona, went for the tip, went for the tip. Adem Bona, jumped at the at half court, and B got the ball, and he took about four or five, I mean, two or three dribbles, and he shot it. It was a bad shot, but I mean, Embiid has been rusty, right? He has been rusty. Hasn't played in like 200 plus days, so he took that shot, and that shot was very, very terrible. But again, he's not gonna take shots like that in the preseason, right? He's not gonna take shots like that in the preseason. But I think overall, Embiid looked good out there, right? Embiid looked very, very good out there. One thing that I noticed, or the first thing that I noticed when he stepped on the floor, was he wasn't looking like this, right? This is not how he was looking like. Now, when I say this, I mean the big ass knee brace on that left knee, right? Wasn't wearing any knee brace. Was playing very, very free and fluid out there. Wasn't really jumping high. I mean, that's not something you expect from Embiid anyway. But him not having the knee brace on was just a great sign, because like I said in the past, this knee brace works hand in hand with gravity. And what I mean by that is when you jump high, or when you jump, the knee brace along with gravity works together to pull you down, right? Because that shit is very, very heavy, and it limits your mobility out there. I mean, Embiid already is immobile because he's dealing with the knee injury, and then plus you have that knee brace on, is going to make things very, very difficult. But him not wearing the knee brace was very, very good. And Embiid wasn't really doing too much out there in terms of trying to overexert himself, trying to jump very, very high or display any athleticism out there on the floor. He wasn't doing any of that. Everything he was doing was very, very simple. Now, Embiid, having played in 200 plus days, still drawing double teams, still drawing triple teams, because teams or players understand the threat that he is when he's out there on the floor. And when you add that to Maxi, you add that to VJ Edgecombe, that's very, very, it's a lot of threats out there on the floor. But, he was still drawing double teams. And one thing that he was doing very, very good was he was making very, very good reads, right? He was making good reads. I think by the second frame, he had like 7 assists, right? He had 7 assists by the second quarter. And that was because he was making some very, very good reads out there on the floor. And sometimes when he got the rebound, the Sixers were very, very active in transition. He would just take a dribble and give the outlet pass to Maxi. I think Maxi had one of those passes that ended up being an and one opportunity. He ended up making a play for Dominic Barlow, like I said, and he did the same thing, drew the foul and won. And Embiid had a lot of plays like that, right? I think Jabari Walker also had a play like that. So he was making very, very good plays, very, very fast, and not wasting too much time. Now, if that can happen in the regular season, that'll be very, very beneficial to the Sixers, because you want to capitalize in transition and score before the defense even gets set. Smash that like button as y'all come in. Smash that like button. So that was one thing, but again, when Embiid is out there, there's going to be positives and negatives, and one of the negatives was the ball stopping tendencies that he has. Trying to ISO, and there's nothing wrong with him ISOing, right? There's nothing with him trying to go 1-on-1, but the thing is that when he gets into that mode, the Sixers, the players just stand there and just like they just watch, right? It's limited movement. Like nobody's cutting, nobody's moving to occupy space. Like they're just standing there, and it's just like you have to make the shot, or else it's just a opportunity for the other team when you miss on the other side. But I mean, him ISO, and I mean, he did make a few, he did score sometimes, right? But I don't like him trying to go between the legs and behind the back and sidestep at the elbow, and those plays like that are very, very are very, very I'm not gonna say very, very easy to defend, but when you have some of these pesky guards, the Marcus Smart, because Marcus Smart in the past had a lot of steals on Embiid when he tries to get into his bag like that, trying to go between the legs and behind the back, and then next thing you know, Marcus Smart just comes out of nowhere and gets the steal, and then they score on the other end, right? I really that's something that you have to keep in the back of your heads, right? And sometimes, these plays happen so fast that these defenders will show up before anybody could say anything to you. But going up against these younger guys, I mean, he didn't really have that. He didn't really have that issue. He was scoring with ease. He didn't really get to the free throw line a lot because he wasn't as aggressive to start the game, right? He wasn't really, he was operating from the top of the key at the nail area. Didn't really get get on the block as much. And he was also making plays, and he was active defensively as well. So, as much credit as you got to give him offensively and for the passes that he was making, you got to give him credit for the defense as well. I think in the first quarter he had like 3 or 4 steals because he was active in the passing lanes. And sometimes, these guys, making terrible passes, his hands just being in the way, he's able to deflect these passes and secure the steals. And then next thing you know, the Sixers are off to the races, right, in transition. And Maxey got a lot of points like that. VJ Edgecombe got a lot of opportunities like that. And also, Quentin Grimes also got his fair share of those defensive plays. Defense turning into offense. They was really scoring off of opportunities like that. So, yeah, you got to give him credit for that. But like I said, he didn't really play the entire first half like he usually does. Play halfway, and then Nick Nurse had to bench him, and then Nick Nurse, played a different lineup. And that lineup that he had in there, he played, he experimented with different lineups. So shout out to Nick Nurse, for experimenting in a preseason game. He experimented with a lot of lineups, and there was this lineup that he had out there. I forgot, but I know it was Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Dominic Barlow, I think I didn't bone on somebody else. It might have been Quentin Grimes, right? He did play some 3 guard lineups as well, But he had this lineup out there where they were just scoring in transition. Like they were playing very, very fast, and Minnesota had difficulties trying to catch up with them, right? And I mean, Chris Finch, he was out there on the sidelines, and he looked sad. But I mean, it's nothing to be sad about because this is not your first team, right? You don't have your best defenders out there, so the transition defense is going to be very, very difficult. But I mean, they had some good guys out there. Shout out to Rob Dillingham, shout out to is it Leonard Miller and those other guys that was out there. Shout out to them. Bones Highland was also playing for the Timberwolves. But that lineup that Nick Nurse had out there was they were really scoring in transition. And when that lineup was out there, I didn't really see too much, players being selfish. Like people were making plays for each other. Players were, communicating out there, occupying spaces, and telling players where to be at. And Max was orchestrating that offense. Maxey would get the ball, and then they're off to the races. VJ gets the ball, and then off to the races. Now, speaking of VJ, I'm a pivot to VJ in a minute here. Shout out to VJ. Like I said, first preseason game in Philly, right? He played very, very well out there. Shout out to Janai Broom. I don't think I saw him out there, but VJ Cavalier Talk says barbecue chicken all day from man, get out of here, bro. Mobley ain't shit. Mobley ain't shit. Yeah, I said it. And it's a crime. It's a crime that they're saying that Mobley's the best player on the Cavs. If Mobley's the best player on the Cavs, you're not making the playoffs. So you gotta deal with it. Salute to my guy. Salute to my guy, Bird Sixers. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. We are so back. What's up, Sixers Mafia family? What's good, bro? What's good? I mean, I'm not gonna say we're back yet, because like I said, it's not against NBA caliber competition. I want to see this against NBA caliber teams before I can, make a judgment or come to a verdict about how good this team could be. But I mean, looking at how they were playing, I think it's fair to say that they're back. But I mean, you just got to be a little bit careful about that, right? But yeah, VJ Edgecombe had some good plays too. Full athleticism was on display, right? Very, very athletic dude. Very, very fast. I didn't realize how fast he was. And even Katie Scott was even saying how they're going to compare who's going to be the fastest player on the Sixers between himself and Tyrese Maxey, because Maxey's very, very fast. Now, I think Jared McCain could be in that conversation as well, because I think Jared is not as fast with the basketball in his hands. Like he's fast. Like if he has to like sprint to the corner, like he's very, very fast. But if he has the ball in his hands, he's not as fast. But Maxey, with or without the ball, he's fast. VJ Edgecombe, with or without the ball, he's very, very fast. Right. And like I said, full athleticism on display. Had some alley-oop opportunities that he wasn't able to convert. Like if he made those plays, like the whole building would have, they would have went crazy in there. But he made some good plays, like I said. Defensively, he was on He was in the passing lanes, also on ball. He did a very, very good job on ball, on Rob Dillingham and some of these other guys on the T Wolves. He also had 3 steals because again, these guys were not, some of the passes that they were making were very, very predictable, telegraphing some passes, and it was very, very easy for VJ Edgecombe to, use his defensive IQ to track some of these passes and anticipate where some of these passes were going to go, and he was able to get steals off that way, right? VJ has a very, very high IQ defensively. I think people only look at the athletic, his extraordinary athletic ability, but they don't give him credit for how good he is in terms of his IQ. Now, sometimes he could, pick up some fouls, right? Sometimes he picks up some fouls. I think he picked up 4 fouls in the by the third frame, right? He had 4 fouls. And some of the fouls, one of those fouls was him trying to make a play, going for an offensive rebound, and he ended up picking up a loose ball foul, right? But other fouls was him not being disciplined, and him bailing out the offensive team. Sometimes I think he let me calm down a little bit. I think when he was in college, he didn't play with somebody of Joel Embiid's caliber. So sometimes, he bails out some of these offensive guys. But when you have a giant behind you, like a Dembona, like Joel Embiid, sometimes you got to give them an opportunity to make plays on the ball as well, and not just bail out the offensive team, right? And that's something that I think it might take a little bit of time. It might take time for him to get used to that because those guys are very, very good rim protectors. Are very, very good defensively in the interior. So you got to give them an opportunity to make a play on the ball. Like when you get beat by an offensive player, that doesn't mean you should foul them, right? Just give your big a chance to make a play. And I think sometimes, he just goes beyond his way. But that was my only issue with him as far as his defense. But on ball, he did a good job. Now, as an on ball defender, sometimes you're gonna get beat. I mean, I'm an on ball defender myself. You're gonna get beat sometimes, right? So you just have to leave it to your big to make a play, or you know, try to recover as best as you can. So Cavalier talk, talking that shit. Evan Mobley's the second best power forward. And man, get out of here, bro. Like I said, he's not better than Paolo. If you're not better than Paolo, you're not the second best power forward in the league. And Paolo's not even the second best power forward in the league. So, no, I'm not buying that. Bird Sixer says healthy Embiid equals fear in every Eastern Conference team starting five with VJ, Grimes, Maxey, and the youth development. Hopefully, Paul George and Oubre can defend the perimeter and just add a little bit on offense. I mean, Paul George's his offense is always going to be there. I don't know if you've seen the clip where he was playing 1-on-1, and bro, this guy's just talented offensively. Like, I mean, I know last season was very, very, had a terrible, terrible regular season last year, but offensively, what Paul George is capable of doing as a scorer is very, very scary. Like 1-on-1, like you don't want that. You don't want that assignment. I'm telling you. 1-on-1, nobody wants that assignment. Nobody should want that assignment. But that's just for another time. I mean, he's healthy. I mean, he's not healthy. He might miss a few games. He might make his debut in November like he did last season. I mean, who knows? But um yeah, but that's that. Bird Sixer says the roster looks good with depth at all positions, and that's what we needed when competing and trying to make a deep playoff run. Absolutely, absolutely, especially at the forward position, right? At the forward position, my only concern about that is that the forwards we have are not consistent when it comes to shooting the threes. I don't think Dominic Barlow is consistent shooting threes. I don't think Jabari Walker is consistent shooting threes. Kelly Oubre he damn sure isn't consistent shooting threes. So, and then you got Justin Edwards, laying bricks, laying bricks this whole preseason. So that's the only gray area. But as far as them, in transition, defensively and also getting rebounds, like they're doing a very, very good job, right? In the past, that's one of the biggest issues that we had is having, athletic athletic forwards or athletic wing players, right? When you got Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker and all these guys, not I'm not saying that to discredit them or to, denigrate them, but those guys are not athletic wings, right? PJ Tucker is not athletic. Tobias Harris is not athletic. But when you have these guys right now, oh my goodness. Yeah, along with the guard play that we got. And if Joel Embiid is going to be healthy, I mean, he has to be healthy in order for the Sixers to make a run, right? He has to be healthy. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. But yeah, let me finish on VJ Edgecombe, and then I'm gonna get to the last person that I want to get to, and then if I'm gonna drop the link, I don't know, but we'll see. I think yeah, VJ, he was very shaky in the beginning shooting threes, right? Because that's something that he's been working on this entire offseason. And the Sixers player development team has been working with him in terms of his shooting. Um to me, I think the mechanics look great, right? The mechanics look great, but I think he has to add a little bit more arc to his shots because the shots were coming up short most of the time, right? Hitting the front of the rim. And that's, not having enough arc on the shot. Or sometimes, when you get tired, the jumpers come up short. But I mean, early on in the first, second frame, there's no way that you're gassed by the second quarter. So that's because there's no arc in the shots. And he did make a couple threes. He made, I think, two threes. And those ones had, high arc, those ones were high arcing shots. But I think the consistency of him, shooting with the high arc is just not there. And that comes with repetition, right? If he's putting in the work, which I believe he's doing, I think his second, third season or his second, third year in the NBA, he'll probably be a very, very good, decent 3-point shooter, right? So that's a work in progress, but the defense will always be there. In transition, the athleticism is always going to be there. He had a dunk late in the fourth, which was funny because the Sixers had a steal, right? They had a steal. And at the other end, I think the cleaning one of the cleaning guys was, cleaning up a wet spot, and he saw VJ full head of steam, and he had to get the fuck up out of there because VJ had an appointment with the rim, right? He was ready to tear the rim down, so had to get out the way. But VJ had his moment, especially in the fourth, the start of the fourth, up until the 8-minute mark, where he scored the Sixers' first 11 points, right, in transition, and also making threes, right. That was his moment right there. And Sixer fans were very, very impressed with his performance. Not just him, scoring, but his entire effort defensively and also offensively making plays. Nick Nurse gave him some, ball handling responsibilities early in the first frame to help Maxey play off the ball, which is very, very good because when Maxey's bringing the ball up the court every single time, it's kind of like, being very, very predictable with your offense, right? Because every time you want the defense to guess what action you're going to run, who's going to be on the ball, who's going to be coming off screens and things of that nature. So if Maxey's bringing the ball up the floor every single time, it's kind of making the defense, it's making their job a little bit easier, right? Um, the world is saying it, so I am. Bro, damn well Evan Mobley ain't no the second power. Bro, stop it. Just stop. See, y'all gonna put all this pressure and all this expectations on him. And when he comes out there and averages 12 or 13 points and 4 rebounds, you start calling him soft. Bro, just chill, bro. Chill. He had a very good regular season last year, right? We give him credit for that. He won all those accolades, DPOY, All-Star game, made the second team All NBA. Cool. I mean, me personally, I believe if Wemby played all the games, he wouldn't have gotten all those accolades, but that's a conversation for another time. I keep telling you that. But just like let the guy, like, give him some time, bro. Like, nothing he did last season proves that he's a top 2 power forward in the league. Only I ain't even gonna say it. Oh man. Bird Sixer says everyone been down on us, but I knew Embiid will make a return and make the haters. Yeah, but I think with Embiid, I think me personally, I'll keep the same energy. I want to see more. I want to see more, right? Especially against NBA caliber competition, which I mean, Embiid is capable of doing, right? He's proven that time and time, like he's proven that. But you still want to see that against NBA caliber competition before you can, go forward and make, make any takes with the Sixers. I love it when the Sixers' expectations are low, mainly nationally, because we seem to always do the opposite of what's expected. A lot didn't even have us making the play-in. Yeah, I remember heading into next season, like yeah, it's still the Sixers are not expected to make the play-in. That's absolutely true. The Sixers are expected to finish with the 11th seed, right? That's where they had the Sixers at, which is and you bringing that up, I'm glad you brought that up because it kind of reminds me of what we were doing or heading into the 23-24 season, right? When James Harden got traded, like that year, that season, like people didn't expect the Sixers to be any successful. People had the Sixers as the sixth or maybe seventh seed, right? Now the Sixers did eventually finish with the sixth, seventh seed, but the point is that people didn't give them. People had low expectations for them, and then they came out, and Embiid was playing at a very very high level, and had us at the third or second seed, right? Before he went down, and then the Sixers they started to plummet. But yeah, that's absolutely true. And yeah, sometimes you want people to doubt you, and that brings out the best out of you, right? You're able to use that doubt as fuel, and you're able to prove the haters wrong. So yeah, I'm glad that they don't have any high expectations for the Sixers. I'm so happy. Um, Cavaliers talk says, what is the starting lineup since podcast P is out? So I think as of right now, the starting lineup will be Maxi. It's difficult. I ain't gonna lie, it's difficult because like what I want is not what Nick Nurse is gonna do. And he might use the same lineup from preseason in the first game. But if that's the lineup he's gonna use, then that's probably gonna be Maxi, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, Adem and then Joel Embiid. But I mean, me personally, I think he should go. He should rather go Maxi, Grimes, Oubre, Barlow, and then Embiid. Right? I think that'd be the best that'd be the best lineup in my opinion. Right, and then have VJ come off the bench. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, everybody will disagree with me. People are not going to agree. People want VJ in the starting lineup, which is fine. That's cool, right? Because I mean, if you got VJ in there, he can do damage, on both sides. But me personally, yeah, Maxi, I want Maxi, Grimes, Oubre, Barlow, and then Embiid. But yeah, I mean, he might. Who knows? He might, change his mind and go two bigs in the starting lineup against the Celtics. I mean, who's the big man for the Celtics? Because they traded Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know who they got in that trade, and then Al Horford walked in free agency. So who's gonna start at the five for the Boston Celtics? If y'all know, y'all can tell me in the comments. But I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I think Maxi Grimes, Oubre, Barlow, and then Embiid. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Yeah, he had bonus starting, bro. He had bonus starting, that was a little bit crazy, but in the beginning it was successful. But you're not going up against NBA competition, so of course it's gonna look successful. But if you go up against a team that knows, like a team, like a good offensive team that knows what they're doing, like you will get exposed immediately. You will get exposed immediately. And that is not to say that, Bona is not good, but nah, you would get exposed immediately. There are certain lineups that starting five might thrive in or, going up against, but it's just other teams that, with these guard heavy offenses, like they're gonna expose you immediately. But But yeah, shout out to VJ. Good performance. Like I said, 26 points in his preseason debut in South Philly. Really impressed the crowd. If he would have made a few more dunks, like he would have he would have gotten more praise for the Sixer fans. Yeah, I think it's too early. But I mean, Ace Bailey didn't want to be here, so I mean, a few of my homies keep telling me like, how do we pass on Ace Bailey? I mean, he's dropping 26 points against the Rockets. And that's cool, but bro, dude didn't want to be here, bro. He didn't want to be in Philly. So, you know, I mean, I just don't know. But I mean, from what VJ is showing me right now, I mean, I think, yeah, I'm good with this, right? Even though he's a work in progress, like I believe he's gonna get better, right? He's definitely gonna get better. Now, I think Ace Bailey might end up being a better player than him, but I think having him he fits with the team just as good as Ace Bailey would fit with the team. So yeah. But I want to talk about this last person and then and then I'll be done. The last person is the grind machine, right? The grind machine, the grimy man, Quentin Grimes, right? Quentin Grimes. Um Didn't play in the first three preseason games because wasn't on the team officially. No, I think the first two he wasn't on the team officially, but the third one against the Orlando Magic, he was on the team, but they were still, working him out, trying to get him in much better shape before they put him out there. So, you could understand it. So, he made his debut, right? Made his debut last night in preseason wise. Heading into year 5, I think Quentin Grimes has been working on his game, right? He's been putting in a lot of work. Offensively, he's so good offensively as a guard. And he says Ace and VJ both look good. I feel VJ can play within the system, and I feel VJ can play within the system and still be be great. And I feel Ace needs the offense to play entirely through him. I was an Ace guy at first, but I admit VJ was the rightful pick for the Sixers. Mm. Yeah, I heard a few people say that too. But I mean, as of right now, I mean, I can't really like make a judgment right now. Like, I want to see like what they both do in their rookie campaigns. Now, I think it's safe to say that you know Ace Bailey might have a much better rookie campaign than or rookie season than VJ, because I mean VJ's on the team that's trying to redeem itself from last season, right? And you got Ace Bailey on the team who is, the Utah Jazz are not trying to be competitive. The Utah Jazz are trying to tank, lose on purpose, and get a whole bunch of picks. So I mean, on a team like that, I mean, you can go out there, get your numbers, jack up a bunch of shots, and get your numbers, and make the All Rookie team, potentially win Rookie of the Year. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? But yeah, I mean Ace might have a better rookie season, but I mean VJ, I'm not counting him out, right? I wouldn't count him out. But from what Grimes was doing last night too, it's going to be very very difficult and very very competitive for VJ Edgecombe. I ain't gonna lie, right? I ain't gonna lie, but Quentin Grimes, he didn't start for the Sixers, which I think was a terrible decision, right? I think you should start him regardless. But he came off the bench and he says Ace is a better fit position wise, but character wise, it's VJ. Yeah, Ace Bailey's character, canceling canceling his private workout with the Sixers like 12 hours prior to the prior to it, and him being a little bit, and VJ was, he was professional throughout the whole entire process. So yeah, salute to Jay. Salute, bro. Appreciate you for stopping by. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're sub to the channel, DFJ Hoops, Sixer platform. But yeah, like I said, Quentin Grimes, he checks in the first quarter. Didn't really do too much offensively. I think he was more trying to, play defense and make plays, right? Playing defense. He has some good defensive plays, right? Now, sometimes, the Timberwolves just scored, and sometimes you can play great defense, but it's just better offense. But he played some good defense. Very, very impressed. He was in very, very good shape, right? He was in very, very good shape. It wasn't really out of shape. And he was out there, full skill on display, like spotted threes, shooting threes off the dribble, coming off screens, and pump faking, driving to the cup, finishing with the other hand, reverse layup. Like his entire bag was on display last night, right? It was on display. And then I think in the third quarter is where he started, showing off because he played a lot of minutes in the third. And he was, bucket for bucket, getting to the spots, making plays, getting all the way to the cup, and then making plays for other guys as well. Right. In the third frame, that was his that's where he showed the most at in the third, and then in the fourth he had some stretches in there where he was also going off. But he was playing in the fourth quarter, and Nick Nurse was he had him out there because he had young he took out the entire the starting five. Like nobody was playing in the fourth, right after VJ had his stretch in that fourth quarter where he scored all those 11 points. He took out the starters, but Quentin Grimes was still out there doing what he was doing. I think Quentin Grimes finished with 22 points, right? Light and a light 22, right? Light 22 points for the for the T Wolves, just gave them a quick 22, and that was it. Right, his night was over. And I think the Sixers, they play good. Right, the performance, like the players that I mentioned, like everybody has some good performances. Dominic Barlow, like I said, has some good stretches. Now, Jabari Walker has some good plays too, but I think he had like 3 turnovers or 4 turnovers. Right, some passes that he was making were just lazy passes, and passes that defenses can easily get to, right? What the Sixers were doing to them, they were doing to us defensively in the passing lanes, right? Now, sometimes, it was him trying to make a play, but the defense read it before. So they anticipated that play. So, it ended up being a turnover. But I mean, he was running the floor, being a big body down low, got some offensive rebounds and made plays, right? Made plays. So, he had a good performance, but the turnovers just doesn't make it look good. Um, I would have still drafted Ace if y'all really wanted him. Mm. Yeah, that too. That too. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like I'm with y'all. Like I wanted Ace too, but once he said he didn't want to be here, I'm like, okay. Like, will you still will you still chase the chick that you've been talking to, and she not trying to give you a chance, or you gonna focus on the drawing that you hit up, and she was all in, very, very professional, and not leaving you, not reading your messages, and not responding to it. Like that's Ace, right? Ace is a chick that will leave you on red, and not respond to your messages faster. And VJ is a chick that very professional, very respectful, respond to your messages, right? Goes all in, right? Oh my god, that shit funny. Yeah, bro, she'll come back. She will definitely come back. Yeah, bro, that's Ace, bro. Hey, Tuna Sports, that's Ace, right? That's Ace. And VJ's, very respectful, right? Response to your messages and all that. So, hey, who would you go for? Now, the chick that's VJ, she might be a 4, she might be a 5, and Ace might be, a 9, a 10. But hey, you gotta make your decision right, bro. Oh my god, I'm crying. If you new or old, friend or foe, hopefully you got some Sixers in your soul. Like and subscribe and join the Sixers Mafia family. DFJ Hoops, the best Sixer channel on YouTube. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, bro. Oh my goodness. This shit funny. But yeah, you gotta make your decisions. You gotta make the right choices, right? Make your better choice. Would you go for the 9 who's rejecting you, not responding to your messages, leaving you on red, or you go for the 5 who's very respectful, responds to your messages, um, and which one would you go for? Hey, Tuna Sports, answer that. Who would you go for? The 9 who leaves you on red, who's not consistent, right? Who doesn't pick your calls, or you go for the 5 or 6. And saying that the VJ is a 5 or 6, it's a little bit unfair because like he also has some good qualities about him, right? He may not be as talented. He may not be as talented as Ace Bailey offensively, because Ace is like he's more polished offensively. But yeah, I think VJ makes up for it, in other ways, right? The defense, like the hustle plays, like he can make up for, like he can give you value in that department. And you can't Ace Bailey's not giving you that two-way play or two-way production, right? Offensively, Ace is that, right? Even though I think he has to get better with the shot selection, right? I think his shot selection needs to be a lot better. But yeah, nobody's gonna make an argument for VJ over Ace when it comes to offense. But I think VJ overall, like he gives you production, gives you value. So Jay will go for the 9. Okay, okay, okay. VJ's a 7.5. Okay. Cavs went for who was the 9? Who was the 9 that the Cavs went for? Because Evan Mobley ain't no damn 9, if that's what you're trying to allude to. Evan Mobley's not a 9. Or the 3 that's going to give up the cheeks night. Bro, y'all killing me. Or the 3 that's going to give up the cheeks night 1, the center from Duke, laughing my ass off. Can't believe people wanted him at 3. Shaking my head. Maybe if we traded back. I was hearing Conconapple. Now, like I said, I don't watch college basketball, so I don't really know these guys. But I mean, hearing certain things from people like Conconapple he was very, very good too. That's who I heard of him. I heard of Trey. Is it Trey Johnson? Yeah, Evan Mobley isn't no 9, bro. Evan Mobley isn't no 9. Get out of here. But yeah, I was hearing VJ. I was hearing Ace, Conconapple, Trey Johnson. The center from Duke, not too much. I didn't really hear too much from him. Yeah, but I heard that center. I heard he underrated though. But I mean, not on the level of these players that we're talking about. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, he a -9, bro. Evan Mobley a -9. Nah, we ain't nah. Nah, we ain't playing, bro. Yeah, Evan Mobley's he's a -9. But yeah, so all in all, I mean, three guys made their preseason debuts, Embiid, Grimes, Edgecombe. I mean, Edgecombe in terms of in Philly, right? Edgecombe was, he was very, very good both sides of the floor, right? Now, one thing, like I said, the foul thing, he has to give his bigs like opportunities to make plays on the ball too. Sometimes, right, and not bail out the offensive player, right? That was something that he has to work on, and also the threes. If he can, get more arcs, shoot with a higher arc on the shots, that'd be much better, right? Because when the jumpers are coming up short and you're not exhausted, you're not gassed, it just means that you don't really have arcs on the shot. So, that's something that he has to work on. The other guys, I mean, Maxi, like I said, I'm not really gonna talk a lot about Maxi. Maxi's gonna do him. Score when he has the opportunity to. Also played. Maxi was playing some. He played some good defense. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, it's against sophomores and rookies. So, you take that with a grain of salt. No, if Mobley was on the Sixers, I would hope or wish the Sixers fail every single season. I'm not gonna lie. Salute to Rap Guy Reloaded. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. If Mobley was on the Sixers, hell no. Tune, I keep telling you, y'all made a mistake when y'all traded Markkinen. If y'all had Markkinen and Mitchell, conference finals guaranteed. Now, I mean, it's looking at it in hindsight as well, so it's a little bit not fair because Mobley was in his second season, and maybe Markkinen had more value than Mobley in year two. I mean, I don't know, but it's still looking at it in hindsight. But I believe if Mitchell and Markkinen was on the team, like you get to the conference finals. Because keep in mind, you lost in the first round that year that Markin had a very, very great season. He made the All-Star team. I don't know if he made the All-NBA team, but I mean, doing this in the Western Conference is very, very impressive. So, it's not humble stuff. It's just facts. You had a better chance to get to the conference finals with Markin in 23 than Mobley. Mobley was in year two. You're not getting to the conference finals with a sophomore player. It's not gonna happen. It's just not. It's just not gonna happen. It's just. I mean, maybe. I mean, probably. But I'm just talking about in the moment, though. In 23, Mobley was in year two. Now, right now, I mean, I don't know if you have a clear chance to get to the conference finals because I mean these younger teams are also going to be in the way. Now, y'all beat Orlando in 24. Next year, Orlando's going to be much better. So I don't know if y'all can get past them. Right? Paolo is getting better. I think Paolo's better than Mobley. Yes, I would debate anybody on that. Now, last year, he dealt with some injuries, but Paolo's much better than Devin fucking Mobley. But I mean, Tune, just think about it, bro. I mean, you looking at it because I know you a huge fan of Mobley or whatever, but just look at it objectively, right? Just look at it objectively. Mobley is 24. Yeah, he's a younger player, but I'm just speaking. I know it's not fair, but I'm just speaking on it in 2023. Like that's the year I'm focusing on. Now, as of right now, Donovan Mitchell's also getting older. So, you know. But I mean Donovan Mitchell still, I mean, he's still in his prime. Well, I mean, you can even say he's in his peak at this moment. Is he a top 5 player in the Eastern Conference? Yes. Right? He is. But with Mobley, I don't know. I don't. But I mean, maybe it's because I hate Evan Mobley and I'm not giving him the credit that he deserves. I mean, yeah, it could be. Mitchell's not going anywhere. It's likely Darius Garland will be traded. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you don't. If you're the Cavs, you don't give up Donovan Mitchell in a trade. You only trade him when he asks for a trade. You don't trade him like that. So. But I mean, the Evan Mobley thing, like I need to see more, bro. I just got to see more. So this season, with Darius Garland being out the way, I'm gonna be paying attention to the Cavs. Not even the Cavs. Evan Mobley specifically, right? Okay, that's fair. That listen, I'm not even trying to talk about that bum. I don't want to focus on that bum. So I don't care about him, bro. Embiid's days are over. I mean, that's fair, but let's see what he does against. Is he gonna play against the Celtics? I mean, I don't know. But I mean, if you're the Sixers, why would you play him in the preseason and let him miss the first game of the season? It doesn't make any sense. So I think it's fair to think that he plays on opening night. And when he goes up against the Boston Celtics, we'll see if his days are over. I mean, the media doesn't have him as a. Is he top 100? I don't know. Is he top 100? Because I saw a clip where he was saying that the media doesn't even have him as a top 100 player. So, um, Embiid is not playing him back. Yeah, we know that. But when they play on Wednesday night, the next game is on Saturday night. So they take on the Charlotte Hornets. So, it's safe or fair to think that he plays in those two games. Now the Sixers have the most back-to-back games this season. I think 16 back-to-backs or whatever. So it's fair to think that he's not going to play in any of them, right? And the Sixers are also going to take they're going to be very very careful when it comes to managing his workload. So just like they tried to do last season, it might be a little bit more of that. So I know. Jay, when he had that play where he drove, like it was an aggressive drive down the lane, and I think somebody took the charge. It might have been Leonard Miller who took the charge, and when Embiid fell, I was like, "Oh my goodness! I hope there's nothing wrong." Because it seemed like he was in pain, but then he got up and walked it off, and walked it off like it wasn't anything. So, I was like, okay, I think he's okay. But yeah, it's just I don't know, bro. But I think the knee is much stronger than it was in the past because I mean, like again, like I said, no knee brace, so I think he feels better. Like he feels better. Like it feels better right now than it did in the past because of the no knee brace. But I mean, still, you want him to be very very careful. Make sure he doesn't land on anybody's foot because that could be the end. Could be the end. So. Embiid's best days behind him are music to my ears. Now watch what y'all do this year. Oh, I can't fucking wait. Yeah, that's Rap God Reloaded. But I mean, I'll say this: I don't see anything MVP caliber because I saw these odds that he might win MVP. I think those days are behind him. Like I think as of right now, like the MVP runnings is gonna be SGA, Anthony Edwards, and those guys, right? I think Anthony Edwards will be in MVP conversations next year, right? Now maybe Jokic might be in there because overall impact on the game, right? And they look at VRP, value over replacement, and you know Jokic dominates in those categories like that, so he might be in the runnings, but I don't see Joel Embiid, right? I don't see Joel Embiid. Yeah, that play was very, very scary. But I mean, I love the fact that he was, aggressive on that drive. But once that player, stepped in and took that charge, which that was a business decision though. I ain't gonna lie, because who I'm not taking no charge with Joel Embiid driving down the lane. Like I like basketball, I like to be competitive, but nah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I just step out the way. Just let him have those 2 points. Let him have it. Yeah. Jokic might be in there, but SGA, Anthony Edwards, Jokic, maybe Giannis might be in it. Donovan Mitchell should be in the next season. Donovan Mitchell should be in it next season. So Şengün should be in MVP discussions, Mm. I mean, that's a good one. But hey, who knows? Maybe Zion might surprise us, and the Pelicans will come out and win like 7 straight games in a row, and then he's in the MVP race. It could happen. We don't need MVP caliber. We need 20 and 10. That's it. Then then playoff time. Unleash the dragon. Mm. Hey, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. Yeah. I feel like he was testing himself throughout the game situationally and got more confident in the need as the game went on. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Luca. I forgot about Luca. Yeah, 100% Luca. I know I was missing somebody. Yeah, Luca would definitely be in it. And Bird Sixers, yeah, that's true. And sometimes he was getting physical defensively in terms of boxing out guys and letting other guys get the rebound. Right, I saw him in situations where he was boxing out two guys, right, boxing out two guys and letting somebody get the board. And that's what the Sixers need, right? That's what the Sixers need. Like defensive rebounds. That's been a huge issue for us the last 2-3 seasons, right? Defensive rebounds and shooting threes consistently, especially open threes, right? Going 0 for 10 in the first quarter as a team, that's bad, right? That's bad. And if you do that against the Celtics, that's a double digit deficit right there, right? You'd probably be down by 12, 13 points heading into the second quarter. So those are opportunities that they got to capitalize on, right? But I mean, as the game went on, I think Maxey, made some threes, made multiple threes. Embiid made multiple threes. Had a three where, trailing the play, got it at the top of the key, shot it, made it. And there was another play where I thought he was gonna cut to the basket, but he he just faked the defender, and he went to the top of the key, and then he shot the three and made it. And I was like, okay, right. So and then, like I said, Quentin Grimes made multiple threes. I think those other bums on the G League team, some of them came in the game. Like Hunter Salas, um, Kennedy Chandler, was it Malcolm Hill? Yeah, those guys also they made multiple threes too. So, but that was late in the fourth, right? Late in the fourth. I was just mad that Justin Edwards could not make any threes, right? And he's been struggling. And hopefully it doesn't remain the same heading into the regular season. Because if that's the case, he might be the next Ricky Council, right? Might be the next Ricky Council. Ricky Council got to Brooklyn, they cut him, and now I don't even know what team he's playing for. Right? I don't even know what team he's playing for. So Rap Guy Reloaded says LeBron will steal votes from but LeBron isn't playing to start off the season, so Luka will have an opportunity to make a case for it early on in the season before LeBron returns, right? So, but LeBron isn't going to steal any votes, bro. He's 41, 42 in year 23. And no player will get MVP votes in year 23. I mean, maybe LeBron is just an exception, but yeah, Luka's the best player on that team, right? Luka's the best player on that team, so Luka will always get more votes than LeBron. Zion has all the talent in the world. I want to see him in the playoffs. Me too. Because I remember like when Zion was getting all those, when he was getting all that hype in 2019, and like 6 years later, 7 years later, he's not even been in the playoffs before. It's very, very, it's disappointing, right? It's very, very disappointing. Um, he knew the competition he was playing. He was testing himself, and Nick Nurse was picking and testing rotations. Yes, I did say that. He had one lineup out there where they were just eating in transition. Like, and everybody was getting up the floor. Like Bono was getting up the floor, Maxey, of course, VJ Edgecombe, of course, Quentin Grimes, they was all getting up the floor. So that lineup, I mean, the Sixers might be one of the best transition teams in the NBA next season, right? It might not be the Pacers, it might be the Sixers. I mean, I think last year the Sixers were one of the best transition teams in the league, right? Most of the points that they were scoring were in transition, right? They forced teams into turnovers and capitalized in transition. So yeah. Only reason for playing them just to get some live actions before the opener. Nothing screams for but something to look forward to. Yeah, absolutely 100%. 100%. Quentin Grimes will make up for podcast P absence. Bro, what is it with you and Paul George? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, why you keep going at Paul George. Would you Sixer fans trade VJ for LeBron and AR-15? I know realistically you can't due to the luxury tax and cap, but I'm just asking. Absolutely not. Bro, nobody's trading for a 41-year-old. Now I know Austin Reeves he's a good guard, good offensive guard, but like Grind, but what you call it, VJ is just giving you he's giving you more. Rebounds need to be secured for us to play fast transition offense. That is 100%. That's true. That is true. And yeah, that I keep saying this, like the Sixers have to rebound by committee. Like we have to rebound as a team. And sometimes, when the shot goes up, you see Maxey and some of these other guys, all the way running to the other side, even before a rebound gets secured. Right. And sometimes when they don't get the offensive rebound, when they don't get the defensive rebound, the offensive team gets it, and then they're playing like a 5-on-4 and they end up scoring. Right. So yeah, we have to rebound as a team, right? Rebound as a team, and we can play in transition. So yeah, but I think I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. I didn't really talk about Paul George because he wasn't playing. Trendon Watford wasn't playing. Kyle Lowry wasn't playing. I don't even focus on Kyle Lowry because he's not on the team. I don't consider him on the team, right? So yeah. Podcast P stole money. I'm going at him until I see him back to hooping again. So why don't you keep the same energy for Ben Simmons? Did Ben Simmons not steal money from Brooklyn and Philly? But you didn't go at him like that, right? So you gotta keep the same energy. Yeah, I talked about everything, focus on everything, covered everything that I wanted to cover. Yeah. But yeah, once again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Bird Sixers, appreciate you for showing up. Cavaliers Talk, appreciate you. Jay, appreciate you for being in here. If you're not subbed to the channel, DFJ Hoops, can subscribe to the channel. Let's grow the platform. Yeah. I think that's all I got. Yeah, Cavaliers Talk was in here with the Evan Mobley shit. Bro, we don't care about Evan Mobley, bro. Is Evan Mobley a top 5 player in the Eastern Conference? I don't think so. Right? Because you got Giannis, you got Jaylen Brown. This is no order. You got Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young. Yes, Trae Young is better than Evan fucking Mobley. Embiid is better than Evan fucking Mobley. All NBA. Okay. Let's see if he can make it next season. right? Let's see if he can make it next season. That's all I'm asking for. If he makes an All NBA team next season, guess what? I shake his hand. I give him his props. But I think the DPOY and the All NBA team that he made last season were because somebody was hurt. And I'm standing on that. Pause if necessary. But hold on, Tune In Sports. I don't care about what they're saying. I don't care. What are you saying? Do you think he's a top 10 player? Are you saying he's a top 10 player? I don't care about they. Fuck they. Do you think he's a top 10 player? Nah, ain't no bro. This is an anti-glaze page. We don't glaze nobody. We don't glaze nobody, bro. All we do is give him props for what he did in the Western Conference with the Jazz. Because keep in mind, that season he had the Utah Jazz as the first seed for a couple weeks or maybe a couple days, right? If you put Evan Mobley on that team, does he have them as the first seed for a couple days? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. And if Laurie was playing with Donovan Mitchell, I bet you he'd probably make an All NBA team too. Nah, they didn't make the playoffs, but bro, he's playing in the tough West. Bro, y'all keep telling us that the Western Conference is tough, but you don't want to give him the benefit. I mean, not the benefit of the doubt, but you don't want to give him any credit for that. In a tough Western Conference. And he's not even playing with any All-Stars or All NBA caliber players. He was only playing with Jordan Clarkson, who's coming off the bench. So that was impressive. He made the All-Star team. I think he was a starter too, right? He was a starter too. So all we do is give him props for doing that in the Western Conference. That's all we're saying. Mobley is better than Laurie. It's nothing to talk about, DFJ. Okay. Nah, I doubt it. Not in the West. Not in the West. I doubt it. But hey, he might. I mean, he might because the West, they're dealing with injuries. I mean, Ja Morant is not gonna play. He's not a guard anyway, but there's a lot of guys injured in the Western Conference. So it might be possible. It might. It might be possible. Smash that like button, y'all. Smash that like button. But we ready to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Sixers, Timberwolves, last preseason game. Yeah, looking forward to Wednesday. Looking forward to the first game of the season against the Boston Celtics. And we'll definitely call that game and also do a post-game reaction to it the very next day. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But we might do a show. We might do a show, and then we're gonna do another show for the pregame analysis and make our predictions for the game before. Who was the last rookie to do that? The last rookie to make the All-Star game. I don't know. Allen Iverson. I'm not. Maybe Anthony Davis, but I'm not so sure. But I'll probably say Allen Iverson, Anthony Davis, or maybe not Allen Iverson, or Michael Jordan. Oh, Blake Griffin. Okay. All right, Blake. To be fair, it was his second year, but he missed his rookie season, so. But hey, shout out to Blake, man. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Blake Griffin. Oh yeah, I was way off with Allen Iverson. Yeah, I was way off. I was way off. God damn. So he made it in his 4th season. That's crazy. That's crazy. But wait, how did he not make it in '99 when he led the league in scoring? When was the last time the scoring champion or the scoring leader didn't make the All-Star team? That's hmm. I might have to do a little bit of research on that. Mo- Man, this the actual name, bro. This the real name. Yeah, that was a lockout. That was a shortened season, 50 games. Um, okay, but yeah. Hey, shout out to Blake, man. Shout out to Blake. Blake Griffin, one of the best dunkers in the 2010s. Shout out to him. Yeah, this the actual name right here. You can't add beast to his name, and he's not even the best player on his team. It don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that. But yeah, shout out to y'all for pulling up. Shout out to y'all for watching. Um, we might have a show on Monday, so looking forward to you guys showing up again. Salute to Tune In Sports, Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. Y'all should definitely check him out. He's got 2 channels, Cavaliers Talk and Tune In Sports. So make sure y'all check out his content. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.